We're closing out Crocktober,
with two of our favorites.
and it turns out they're your favorites too.
So you're missing out if you haven't made these yet.
So let's take
A blast from the past with two videos you're going to love.
Recipe number 1 is steak and potatoes. Yes, you can have a steak and potato dinner in your crock pot. This video has gone viral for us, and this recipe has been made by thousands of people, and you guys are loving it. It's one of my personal favorites, and I know you love it too, so let us know in the comments, have you made this recipe before? But we're gonna take a blast from the past and watch that video.
Okay, let's get cooking, friends. First thing we're gonna need is some steak. This recipe is delicious, and it's perfect. Sorry, my puppies. And it's perfect to have that steak and potatoes that you want at a restaurant, but you can make it at home. Now, the first thing you need is 2 pounds of sirloin steak. Now, if you're really on a budget, you don't have to use sirloin. You can get a more, is that my crock pot? I'm sorry, my crock pot's making a noise. But you can get a cheaper steak if you would like to, because your crock pot makes all steak taste amazing. So something to think about there. Now, this crock pot actually is a digital 5-in-1 cooker, or 10, I don't even know the numbers, but it does lots of things to it. So we're actually gonna brown our steak in our crock pot, and that's why I love it. Now, we do have links to our favorite crock pots in the description below for you as well if you wanna check those out. If you don't have this feature and you just have a regular crock pot, just head to your stovetop and brown it up real quick. Now, what we're gonna do, because these are steak and potatoes, but we're cutting these into steak bites. So we're gonna cut these steaks into 1.5-inch pieces, about, you just eyeball it. But you basically want them to be bite-sized. So we're going to, so pretty large chunks. I'm gonna take some olive oil and just drizzle it in. I think we say like 2 tablespoons or so. And then we're just gonna place this in here and get it nice and brown. You can hear this, you can hear the sizzle. Hopefully you can hear that. We just wanna get it brown. We're not cooking the steak all the way through. We're just getting that caramelized brown flavor on there. You could skip that, but it's not gonna have that same like steak flavor. It's gonna have more of like a stew meat flavor if you don't brown it. It's not a bad thing. It'll still be good. But this is the one recipe that I do recommend that you actually brown the meat. So, you know, I'm lazy, so I only will tell you to do that if it's actually necessary. Then we're gonna season our steak with garlic powder, onion powder, and salt and pepper while we're browning it. And remember, you're not cooking it, you're just trying to get it, oh, it's stuck, browned. While that's cooking, we're gonna go ahead and get our onion chopped. We need an onion diced, but you can do what you think, if you want it small or if you want it big. I kind of think big would be really good, but either way will work for you. We do have a video on how to chop an onion. I know that sounds weird, but if chopping an onion is annoying to you, you're gonna love that video. It's so easy and it's a game changer. So I'm gonna do kind of in the middle where they're chopped, but they're not as small as I normally do. Now see how we're getting that nice brown color? The way to get that is to just let the steak sit there. If you keep moving it, you're not gonna get that caramelized flavor that we want. Then we're going to add in our onion and get those nice and soft too and caramelized. You can remove the steak and do the onions by themselves, but for time, I'm just gonna throw them all in there today. But either way works. Like if your skillet is not big enough, I get it. You can work in batches as well. Now that it's brown, we're gonna add some minced garlic. I kind of just moving the steaks around and putting it in the middle so we can get like a nice aromatic smell to know that it's been activated. Okay, you don't have to do that, but then we're gonna let that just simmer for just a few seconds, or a few minutes actually. You don't want it to burn, and you could do this in your skillet if you were using the skillet. Then we're gonna have baby potatoes, so I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting these while that's smelling amazing. It already smells so good. But we're using like Yukon Gold baby potatoes. They are little, I like to cut them in half, but you can throw them in there whole if you want to. It's completely up to you. Most of the time they come washed, so all you gotta do is cut them in half and throw them in there. So we're going to cut them in half while I'm letting that go. And it doesn't matter how you cut them in half, you just cut them in half. And again, we have lots of recipes where we don't even cut them, so you could throw them in there whole if you want to as well. And we have already like drained and rinsed them if they didn't come. You want to make sure they're clean, especially since we're leaving the peels on. But I like these because the peels are so thin that it's that they taste really, really good. Sorry, it's getting mad at me. We've sauteed too long. I agree. Okay, so that smells really, really good. We're gonna mix that around. I'm going to pour in some Worcestershire sauce, some beef broth, and then some thyme. Thyme is on my side or your side. I don't know the words. Okay, so we got that mixed around. Then I'm going to put the steak piled up into the center of the crock pot. Then we're going to, hold on, let me get this done first. So we're going to put them all around and get a pile. And the reason we're doing that is then we're going to put our cut potatoes along the side of the edges. So it's going to cook all around the steak. And it doesn't have to be perfectly piled up like that. That's just what I've done to make sure I have enough room for all my potatoes. I just finished up cutting up all the potatoes, so I'm just gonna add the last bit in, and we're gonna do it all around the sides. Again, don't overthink this, it's fine. Now we're gonna add the lid and we're gonna slow cook this for low for 6 to 8 hours. You can do high, but your beef isn't gonna be as tender. Now remember, this isn't gonna be like a medium rare steak or a medium steak. It's gonna be a done steak, but since it's in the crock pot, that's why we say you can use cheaper meat, because since it's in the crock pot, it's gonna be super tender and really flavorful. And so that's why don't stress out about doing a really fancy cut of beef in your crock pot. Save some money and still enjoy steak and potatoes at home. So I'm gonna let this cook for a few hours and then I'll be right back. It's time. It smells so good. I'm so pumped about it. We have this beautiful steak and the yummy potatoes. Like the flavor, you can just smell the flavor. Is that even a thing? Now it's time to dig in. Probably should have gotten a spoon instead of tongs. But you're gonna have this delicious steak dinner, but your crock pot did all the work. Now you can also add in some other veggies in here as well. Green beans would be delicious in here. If you're in our Lazy Day Cooking Club, we talk about doing foil packs all the time, where you can do like some broccoli on top, like in a foil pack, so that way they don't get all mixed together. But look, yummy.
I love that steak and potato recipe, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think of it as well. So my favorite blast from the past is actually, it's so far in the past that it's in my old home when I filmed this video. It's crock pot sausage with potatoes. It is definitely a one-pot meal. My kids ask for this all the time. And my favorite part is not only is it easy, it's super affordable as well. All right, I hope you guys enjoy one of my favorites, Blast from the Past. Welcome to my kitchen. My name is Christina. I am with eatingonadime.com. My sister Carrie and I run the site, and here we are all about helping real families eat real food at home on a budget. And it is Crocktober, which means every day in the month of October, we are teaching you a brand new easy crock pot recipe that your entire family will love. I have linked today's recipe in the description below, so you can always grab that. There you will find the nutritional information. You will be able to print it out easily, so it's easy to see. You get all the things, so make sure that you check that out. If you cannot find it for some reason, just Google Eating on a Dime crock pot sausage and potatoes. It will pull right up. Also in the description below, you are going to find a link to our Crocktober digital cookbook. We are offering it at a huge discount this month only, so make sure that you grab yours before that discount runs out. To celebrate Crocktober, we're just giving it at a discount for this month only, so check that out as well. Okay, before we get to cooking, let's talk about crock pots. For today's recipe, I am using a 6-quart multi-cooker. Multi-cooker is a fancy name for a crock pot that does other things as well. So this is the new beautiful line by Drew Barrymore at Walmart. This is a great price point for a multi-cooker. I've just been testing it out recently, It does run a little bit hotter, but so far I've been liking it and I'm excited to try out this recipe today. You can find this at Walmart and I've linked it in the description below for you as well if you want to try it out as well. So 6-quart or 8-quart crock pot for this recipe today will work great. You can use any crock pot. It does not need to be a multi-cooker. That's just what I'm using today to show you guys this recipe. Let's get started. So first, make sure that if your multi-cooker has an insert, this is the steamable insert, take that out. We're just gonna use the pot only. We're gonna start out by adding some potatoes. I am using baby yellow potatoes. I've washed them and let them drain in my strainer. We're gonna throw these right into the crock pot, but for this recipe, I am gonna cut them in half. It just makes them a little bit easier to eat and it makes them cook a little bit quicker. This recipe cooks pretty quick in your crock pot, but it works great. So if you do not like baby gold potatoes, you can use new potatoes, red potatoes. Those would be delicious in this recipe. You could also use russet potatoes as well. If you use russet over the other options, I do recommend that you peel and dice those into large pieces before adding them to the crock pot. Okay, all the potatoes have been added. Now we're going to add some smoked sausage. About 16 ounces smoked sausage works great in this recipe. I am just using classic smoked sausage. The cool thing about this recipe is you can use your favorite. You can use kielbasa, you can use turkey sausage, you can even use brat or Italian sausage as well. The flavor is great in this recipe, so you could also just use whatever is the best price point in your area. If they have some sales or something like that, you could definitely use that in this recipe as well. So for this sausage, you do want to cut it in about 1-inch chunk and throw it right into the crock pot on top of those potatoes. So since there's 2 of these, I just line them up and just dice them right along, just for quicker chopping here. This is the size I do. You just want like little bite-sized pieces. And I like to put it on top of the potatoes in the crock pot so that when the sausage cook, the flavor drips down into those potatoes and adds the flavor to those potatoes as well. Okay, sausage chopped right on top. Perfect. Next, we're gonna add some onions. I'm gonna do 2 yellow onions for this recipe. Now, here's my thing with onions. I know people love them or hate them, I get it. I'm married to somebody who does not like them. I understand, I love them, I get it. So what I recommend in this recipe is that you leave them in bigger pieces. I'm gonna say the word chunks, and this way, when it cooks, you still get the flavors, but then if people don't like them, they can easily pick them out of their serving, or they can just avoid it when they're getting their serving. So I'm just gonna peel this onion here, peel all the skin off. I cut off the ends, peeled off the skins. Got a little extra skin on here, I'm just gonna get off. Then what I do is just quarter it. Then I don't like the middle because it's just like a bulb here, and we're just going to take apart the layers of the onions and put it right in. Again, on top, so when it cooks down, all the flavor gets into those potatoes and the sausage. We're just gonna put it right on top. Now, if you're nervous about it, you're like, my kids hate onions, you could just do 1, that's fine. You could do a little onion powder, but it's not gonna have as much flavor. I love just doing the big onions and picking them out. Do not do red onions. It's gonna give a different flavor. It's more of a sweet flavor, so do not use red onions in this recipe. You could use white instead of yellow, and that would work as well. Onions are all added. Now let's add the seasonings. First, before we do that, we are going to add 1 can of petite diced tomatoes. Now, I use petite because that is my preference. You can use regular diced tomatoes as well. It's about a 15-ounce can. Just dump that right into your crock pot on top of the other ingredients. Now, there are all sorts of types of petite diced tomatoes out there. You got fire roasted, you got Italian, you got all sorts of flavor, Mexican. I'm just using the regular, the classic petite diced tomatoes. I like to use petite because the chunks are a little smaller and my kids aren't as sensitive to them in the meals. You can use your favorite. I think all the options out there would actually taste great in here. So definitely use the one that you love, throw it right in the crock pot, or use whatever you have in your pantry. Even better, right? You're gonna save even more money that way. All right, let's add some seasoning. On the seasoning, just remember, teaspoon, teaspoon, teaspoon. You just need a teaspoon of each of these. First is a teaspoon of minced garlic. We use the pre-jar mixed garlic and oil, saves time, and it adds just as much flavor. A teaspoon of salt, and then 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. Now, if you do not have Italian seasoning in your area, we do have a recipe for homemade Italian seasoning that you can find on eatingonadime.com. Just search Italian seasoning and it'll pull right up. It's a great blend of all sorts of Italian flavors, and it's a really quick and easy way to add a lot of flavor to your crock pot recipes. Okay, all that's added. Now we just need a little chicken broth. 1 cup, that's all you need, guys. Just gonna dump that right in on top, and that is all we need for this easy recipe. Now everything's just been dumped in the crock pot. Now it's time to just get it cooking. Make sure that you put your lid on your crock pot. Done that before. All right, you can cook this on low or on high. On low, about 6 to 8 hours, or on high for 3 to 4. Now, like I said at the beginning, each crock pot cooks differently. This one cooks a little bit hotter, so I'm gonna cook it at the lower end of the cook time. You are just waiting to see when those potatoes are nice and fork tender, because the sausage is already pre-cooked, so you're just reheating that up and really getting all the flavors combined together. So once you know your crock pot, use the time range that you know works best with your crock pot. That's why we always give a best range. Sorry about my little kitty there. She thinks she needs to get in the fridge right now. All right, it's the beginning of the day here. I'm gonna cook this on low. I'm just gonna do 6 hours because this runs hotter, and then I will see you soon and we will check out this delicious meal. It's ready. So it's been cooking for about 6 hours on low, so you can easily put this in the morning before you go to work and it'll work great. What you want to do is just test a potato. I like to use a fork and just stab it, and then if it's cool enough, you can always try it and see if it's the tenderness that you like. This is pretty soft when I put the fork in, so it's kind of a big one, so I'll do like this. Perfect. The ultimate taste test. Okay, once the potatoes are cooked to your tenderness, it is ready to serve.
There you have it, 2 amazing recipes. Now, if you haven't been following all month long, we've been sharing crock pot recipes for Crocktober, and today's the end of the month. That doesn't mean you can't make our delicious crock pot recipes all year long. Remember, you can grab the Crocktober cookbook, the digital cookbook linked below, and the email series where you can get 31 days of crock pot recipes that are still going to taste good even in the winter months.
And if you love crock pot cooking as much as I do, and my sister does, you want to make sure that you check out our cooking club. We take crock pot cooking to the next level. We teach you how to make crock pot freezer meals that go from your freezer to your crock pot in under 2 minutes every single day. We have a link in the description as well as a special discount just for you.
Woo-hoo! Now, before we go, don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you love this series, but
you do not want to miss. We have more fun crock pot recipes coming for the holidays, and we do not want you guys to miss out.
Yes, your crock pot is really going to help you. Okay, friends, we're out of here because we have more videos to make for you.
And dogs to chase around as well.
100%. In the meantime, don't forget to eat at home
by eating on a dime.
Bye, friends.